Here this evening to talk about two very popular 9mm pistols that many new shooters are probably considering for their first purchases. I got the Gen 4 Glock 19 here and the Springfield XD9 service model. And just dive in real quick about kind of the selling points on the two pistols. As far as safety is concerned, the XD9 has a backstrap safety, a passive safety, some people like to say, as well as an ultra safe. I don't know how that's any more safe than the Glock safe action, but there it is. Ultra safe action trigger. You've got a striker position indicator on the back. When the little nub sticks out, that means the striker is cocked and ready to go. And you've got a loaded chamber indicator right there that'll stand up when a round's in it. Both these guns are safety checked. Other features are you got smooth grip panels on the XD with, pretty good checkering on the front and back straps of the grip. You've got a standard notch and post sight picture, 3-dot. There it is. Both are metal. Front sight is dovetailed, which apparently some people like. The Glock is not. Some people hold it against it. There's your takedown lever. And there is your slide release. You've got an ambidextrous magazine release. There it is on the other side there, which is good for you left-handed shooters or the people who like to use their trigger finger to drop their mags. You both have a safety rail. You've got some cocking serrations on the front of the slide on the XD, whereas you do not on the Glock. On the Glock, your safety is effectively your trigger finger, as you have a safe action trigger, which will prevent it from discharging accidentally, but not negligently. If you put something in the trigger guard and it engages that little tab there, it will fire. But keep your booger hook off the bang switch is what I believe everyone likes to say. The front sight is a little screw post deal there. You've got no cocking serrations in the front. You do have a light rail. There's your rear slide. I apologize, the 19 is a little dirty as it is my carry gun primarily. I've got the back straps on the Gen 4 here. This is the beaver tail back strap that they now ship with. The 2mm variant comes with 4mm as well. It makes the grip a little bit fatter and chunkier, which allows you to get more purchase on the grip. You've got the twin takedown tabs. The loaded chamber indicator is the ejector or extractor. You can kind of see it. It's kind of tough to tell, but it's kind of sunk into the frame right here. If there's a round in the chamber, it sticks out a little bit. It sticks out flush with the frame. This little metal piece is. This will stick out a little bit there at the end. The Glock 19 comes with 3 magazines. The XD Essentials comes with 2. If you get the gear system, it comes with a double mag pouch and a belt holster. The quality on them is sufficient. It's not particularly great. As far as firepower is concerned, you got a 16+1 on your XD, and you got a 15+1 on your Glock. Now, which of these pistols do I prefer? The answer is the Glock. It's a little bit lighter, which is nice. The grip is a little bit shorter. It doesn't affect how you hold it during firing. You can get all your fingers on it. It's fine. Not much else. The XD likes to grab your shirt a little bit more if you're carrying it in an inside the waistband holster, which is very popular these days. And the biggest difference is the trigger. The trigger on the Glock, they're pretty similar. You got kind of a heavy take up that actually cocks the pistol. You can kind of see some of the internals going there on it. It actually finishes the cocking motion for the striker, and then you hit the wall and it releases. There's a lot more creep when the trigger is new. We'll get into the resets in a moment here. And on the XD, okay, the take up is very light, very nice. Very easy to get to the wall and keep the trigger stage and brake with a little bit of over travel, just like the Glock. Overall, the distance to travel, the XD's is a little bit longer, and I'll show you the resets. Alright, as promised, here's the Glock reset. And then it's ready to fire again. You can see just the only take up is the skin on my finger, and it's fired again. And I'll show you the XD now. Okay, here's the XD. A little bit longer reset, not quite as strong. And then you can see the trigger actually has to travel rearward to hit the wall again before it breaks and you have it staged. So that factor alone keeps my grips a lot tighter with the Glock. Additionally, the Glock has a better bore axis. It recoils more flatly. Just imagine the slides coming straight at you. The muzzle doesn't rise as much as it does on the XD. I mean, you can see how tall, because of the frame, the thicker frame and the taller slide, you can see how much it stands up in my hand there. It has a little more muzzle rise. I mean, it's not dramatic. It's a 9mm cartridge after all, but it is noticeable. It definitely, I was able to tell the difference when I was shooting IDPA. I immediately shot the Glock as well as the Springfield, despite having never fired it before. That's right, the first time I took it out to shoot it was for an IDPA match, which I understand is some sort of cardinal sin, but I did it. It did fine. It didn't hit me in the face with the brass or anything like everyone is worried about these things do. Somebody were to ask me which one of these pistols would you buy, I would say the Glock 19 for a couple reasons. Number one, I feel it performs better when in the context of action shooting, which the whole reason we buy guns for self-defense, if we want to be honest, is to put as many of them in the bad guys as possible, and I feel like the Glock does that more easily. The trigger's better. It just is. I know you can swap out the trigger for $100 or whatever on the XD, but at the same time, you've just spent more money than you did on the Glock, and you've really opened up what your options could have been for a plastic pistol at that point. So, and additionally, if you really do get into shooting, I feel like everyone at some point is going to own a Glock 19. It's one of the most popular handguns that anybody has bothered to make, so check it out. Might as well go ahead and demystify the appeal of it up front and start with what you're finished with in my instance, but I know lots of people like the XD, and it is a fine pistol. I've got about 1,500 rounds trouble-free through the XD, and a couple hundred rounds through the Glock 19 so far. It's, I guess, still being broken in according to Glock, but another thing is the slide release lever is a lot flusher to the frame on the 19. I actually prefer the more exaggerated slide release on the XD. It's better for slide lock reloads. It's easier for my thumb to find it. I can actually activate the mag drop easier on the XD because the way the grip is contoured is nice. But at the same time, all that being said, I still prefer the Glock. They're very, very comparable guns in size, capacity, everything but, in my opinion, performance. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the XD is just second rate to the Glock. It's not at all. It's a very fine gun. I mean, either one of these will serve you well. But I get more out of the 19. It made me a better shooter instantly, having switched to it. Neither one of these guns is going to overcome bad mechanics, but if you learn a good thumbs forward grip with your support hand, roll your elbows out and drop your head down behind the sights, learn how to pull the trigger correctly. There's a hint: do that, don't do this. Or you try to just isolate it to this joint, and I've been able to get much better success. Use the pad of the finger. But anyway, those are the two weapons. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments to tell me how wrong I am, and I'll tell you how wrong you are, and we can compare who's read more things on the internet. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it.